Argument I keep seeing up is that why do we keep allowing kids to come around these LGBTQ events when they're nothing but deviants and promiscuous? They're all nasty creatures in that aspect. And I've been very curious about this aspect. So at Pride recently, in my city, I decided to take my niece to Pride. I was very curious to see how it would go. And there were lollipops of the phallic members in that capacity everywhere. And there was drag performers out there, and they went topless in some points and a little bit of slips. And after the drag performer went slipped and Lil Nip Slip said, "Oh, you already know how it is, girl." And my niece didn't really care. My niece thought it was kind of funny. Now, should children be exposed to this at such an early age? I think children deserve to know about anatomy at some points. I don't think children really view most things as hypersexual as the next person, but that's a topic for another discussion. What I wanted to talk about was why, in God's name, it is so provocative at the Pride events or the events in that capacity. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you're a straight guy, right? You're a straight dude, you're rocking, you're vibing out, and you want to see, perhaps, some action. You want to see what it's going to look like in the future. So you just go to TBS, see a man kissing a woman. Just random show. Doesn't matter what it is. House, Family Guy, Man with a Woman. Everywhere. You got your representation. You're happy. You're saying to yourself, yeah, straights. This is normal. This is regular. This is good. But let's say you see your friend that's a boy. You're young. You don't know what that means. And you say to yourself, wonder if I can see a guy on guy kissing each other. But everybody says that's wrong, but you're very attracted to another man. You're fit in puberty. You're maybe 14, and you say, oh, you'll grow out of it. So the entire time when everybody else is doing man on woman and kissing out and making out and make out point and going in cars and going on trips and going on dates with women, and that's regular, everybody's telling you, well, you'll grow out of being gay. Don't worry about it. But everybody else isn't growing out of being straight, so you're a little bit confused. You have no representation. And so, finally, at 18, when you're free from your parents' clutches, you go out in the world. Start dating guys. You have a little bit of a late start, but you know that you like men. So naturally, you go out and talk to men, and you say to yourself, oh man, I love guys. I love butt. I love men. I love phallic shafts. This is great. So, you don't know what to do. So you look online to see if there's any representation for it. You download Grindr and discover that it's nothing but penises. And that's all it is. It's nothing but torpedoes coming right into your inbox. Ha-ha! That's all it is. You're a little bit upset. You want more than that. So you look for romantic stuff between two men. There's not much out there besides fan fictions and yaoi. So you're a little bit confused. You don't know where to look at it in common media representation because you're sexually repressed by society. You're told that what you like is disgusting and you should hate yourself for liking it. It's gross. So you finally go to a Pride event. Oh, you're excited. You say to yourself, oh, after all these years, yay, finally go to a Pride event. And you finally see what you've been waiting for all this time. You go to a bar, you see sexual stuff all the time. You go see the card girl at a boxing event, and she's in a bikini, and that's for straight guys. You go see specific events, you see bikinis and stuff like that. You go to a beach, and that's, you just women, and their butts are out, and chest testicles, and all this stuff. That's what it is. In common society, nothing has gay representation for romance or anything provocative or sexual in any capacity. So it's repressed inside of their souls. That's all it is. It's stuck. They don't know what to do with it. And so they need an outlet. That's why if you go on Grindr, it's so provocative. They're always talking about who can host. You have HIV, you have AIDS. Because guess what? They don't get the chance to express themselves. And it's not just gay community either. Lesbians are viewed as some holy grail among the straight community. Oh, it's girl on girl action. This is so cool. We can have a threesome. This is so fun. But it's not really like that, is it? It's not supposed to be like that. It's two women loving each other. It's two people loving each other is what it's supposed to be. But look for some lesbian representation in media. It's very hard to find, few and far between, without getting overly sexualized and a straight guy looking at it like, yeah, this is hot. That's what happens. It's never the realness of how a real lesbian relationship goes. So they're repressed too. You don't see trans love in any capacity. You don't see that. They're viewed as a specific category on the hub. They're fetishized deeply and intimately. Same with femboys, deeply fetishized, not to be loved or cared for as actual people, but only viewed as a category. That's the entirety of it. So they're cannibalized deeply because they don't know what to do. And this cannibalization, this hate, this evilness that happens in the social zeitgeist and the media causes their tendencies to be repressed because they forgot some of their language. Their language is being destroyed. They don't know the terms for it anymore, so they're now relearning what was once lost because of the repression of society. That's what's happening. That's the reality of what's going on. So when you go to these pride events, you see all this hypersexualization because that's a part of the community. It's sadly a part of the community because it's been hidden for so long. It's been told it's taboo. We now have the ability to represent what we are, to be out and open with it, to be public about how provocative we are. And straight people, that's all they are. That they're able to be out and open with how provocative they want to be. They always are allowed to. In common media, sex sells. Oh, it's a nip slip at the Super Bowl. Oh, that was so cute. Oh, look at these big butts shaking. Look at this, look at that. That's what happens. It's out everywhere. And I know a lot of people often say, well, we shouldn't be showing our kids this stuff. Yeah, 100%, I agree. Shouldn't be showing the kids that stuff. Same vein, you shouldn't be saying, oh, they're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend when they get older. Shouldn't be doing that to kids too either. That's not fair. You never know what they're going to be when they grow up. They could switch genders when they grow up. You never know. You have no idea. You can't control what this kid does. You can try to guide them based on what you want. You can do that and be a horrible parent. You can always do that. That's fine by you. But by all means, you can't force that. You can't say, oh, you can't ask a little girl to give you a kiss on the cheek. Can't do that. Can't do that. That's weird. I'm tired of seeing it. It's weird as hell. I know you don't think it's weird, but it's strange. You can't say, oh, this guy's little girlfriend. Why don't you do that with boys? Because it's common. It's regular. And until we stop putting stigmas of the regular societal norms on things, we can't progress. And there's going to be kink at Pride. There's going to be these events that happen. There's going to be children getting exposed to. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen if you bring a child to Pride. Why are you bringing a child to Pride? Why are you doing that? It's the whole thing. You know it's going to be at Pride. You know it's sexually repressed there. Don't do that. Now that's the positive side of this. That's the good side. That's the side that they argue all the time. That's what happens. And that's me talking from that point. Here's the negative side. Here's the complete opposite right here. Complete opposite side of what I just said is, why in God's name is it being exposed to children? Why in God's name is it being put in the public? Why is it so depraved and psychotic? This is a public orgy, essentially. This is disgusting. Nobody wants to see it, and nobody should be a part of your actual depravity and acts. We shouldn't be forced to witness it. I'm not going to Pride, but I see it all the time. It's in new media. It's being forced and pushed down our throats. Acceptance of these people that we don't view as regular because it's not normal. You know what also wasn't normal? Wearing seatbelts. Back in the day, they fought against seatbelts. And we'll fight against this to the end of time. We'll fight against it because guess what? That's correct to do. It's not regular. It's not Christian. Because biologically, a man and a woman make a child. That's what happens. And that is regular. That is normal. You need that to make a child. Now, because of advancements in science, you can make a child with bone marrow, but that's science. That's an extra step. What happens naturally and biologically, right? A man and a woman coming together. Oh, loving each other, kissing each other. And it's normal because it's biology. That's how it's supposed to be. And your biology is wrong. Your biology is wrong. It's wrong to have that. And that's what happens. That's what happens when you go against the norm. You go against the tide. You go against the storm. You try to push against the current of everything, and it beats you down. You get destroyed, so you got to build a stronger back. You got to callous your brain to all the hate and onslaught that happens. And they see the kink events, and that's all they see. It's the vocal minority is what they see. They see lollipop dildos and all this nonsense and a grinder, and they download it and see all these guys just, what's your type? Are you an otter? Are you a bear? That's all they see, just the provocative side of it. They don't see the romance. They don't see the inner struggles. They don't see the hate of ourselves. They don't see the fact that it's hard to be this thing. They don't see that. All they see is the fact that you just want to sleep with a man. It's hard to sleep with a woman, but you don't want to sleep with a woman and a guy? Come on now. That's what it is, because a lot of gay people, it's not the fact that they're too sexual. It's the fact that they're viewed as an object. They're an experience more than anything. The LGBTQ is more of an experience for straight people. Think about women. when they give up on their guy and say, I'm just going to try girls now. I'm just going to I'm going to experiment with women. It's not an experiment to be a lesbian. If you like women, you like women. Don't experiment with a lesbian. If you love a woman, you love a woman. If you love a man, you love a man. If you love both, you love both. Don't experiment. A trans person isn't an experiment. It's not an experience. It's not something you can just have for a little bit and get sick of and toss to the side. They're people with feelings too, man. You can't keep doing that. That's disgusting. It's gross. It hurts. Because if you keep doing it, you end up ruining what they are. They have this horrible self-image of themselves. They think to themselves, maybe I am just a sexual object. And they believe that. So they go and represent that out in public media. They make these accounts. They make these things that go on the hub and try to find themselves within these sexual depravities. And that's what happens. A lot of people become hypersexual or asexual in general. They get repressed by it. They get disgusted by the fact that they hate their own body and themselves. And they end up becoming asexual and repulsed by sex completely. Or, complete opposite, they end up encouraging it. All they are is sex. That's it. They're just this object. They're just this thing. They're just this category on the hub. That's all they represent. And so they hate themselves on the inner core of what they are. They don't appreciate what they are. They don't love themselves to a degree where it makes them feel like people. And they're losing some core aspect of how to feel like a person. And that's disgusting too. Both are very gross. Both are very nasty to be a part of. And I hate that. I don't want to see people hating being people and expressing themselves. We're in America, people. And maybe you're in a different country and you don't really represent what it is. You don't have the freedom to be what you want to. But at least here in America, you have the freedom to be what you want to. And other people have the freedom to hate, obviously. They have the freedom to look at you and think you're weird, think you're strange, and say, oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. That's not God's way. That's not the correct way. That's not how you do it. And that's fair too. And that sucks that it's fair. It sucks that they can say these things. You can't retaliate with anything besides saying words back to them. But you got to turn the other cheek sometimes. And it's hard to do that. You got to be kind when you can't. It sucks. It hurts to hear too, because they're going to view you as that category again. They're going to go on the hub and they're going to say, oh, I'm going to type in trans. I'm going to find people just like you. I'm going to type in gay and find people just like you. Just like you. They're reduced to just your bits. That's all you are. You're not a human anymore. You're just your bits. So of course, they're going to ask the question and pose it all the time. Is the LGBTQ too sexual? You have the right to be. You have the correct right to be. Because after all this time of not being allowed to express it, having no social media representation, having no media representation for so many years, you're finally getting it and they hate it. Oh, they hate it. And they're on the wrong side of history too. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's weird. Who wants to see men kissing? It's disgusting. Men shouldn't be treated like women, and women shouldn't be men. It's not right. You know what you sound like? You sound like back in the day when they said the earth back in the day was flat. What, the earth is round? That's stupid. There's new information all the time. We have the world's strongest device in our pockets about 100% of the day. All the time. You have the ability to look up, research, and learn about the world, and you refuse to learn. You choose to be ignorant. You choose to live in this bubble within yourself that you created, and this social pariah. You've decided to live in an echo chamber that only echoes the same belief that you believe throughout your entire life. And you don't have to be a part of this movement. You don't have to be. You don't have to witness the movement. And you can hate on it from a distance outside the club because you cannot get in. And you can try to get in, and you may be repressing yourself right now. You may want to experiment. You may want to get your nails done but think it's too feminine. You may want to cook but think it's too feminine. You may want to clean but think it's too feminine. You may want to work on your car but think it's too masculine. You may want to learn how to play 2K but think it's too masculine. You may want to join a fighting game community but they disaccept you. You may want to do a lot of things, and it may destroy you on the inside out, and it may suck. And they're only going to see you as that. They're going to see you as trying to be something different. Because different doesn't always mean bad. It's just different. It's not even unique or special. It's just different. That's all it is. I remember so adamantly, this is such a basic lesson growing up. There's a kid who started from zero with every math problem. That's all he ever did. Everybody else would do 2 plus 2 because they knew 2 and 2, but he would say 0 plus 4. It was different, but it was still correct. It still got to 4. If a man and a man get with each other, they can still adopt a child. There's a bunch of kids in adoption agencies. Same with lesbians. Some women don't want to have kids. Some women can't have kids. Some trans people just want to be loved, just want to be a person, just want to be their truest self and their most important self, what makes them feel most mentally correct. And even if it is a mental illness, doesn't matter. What's the cure to that mental illness? Being the best version of yourself. Figuring out what works for you. Not suppressing yourself, being more of what you are. That's what happens. That's how it works. Sure, you can call it being gay a mental illness. I don't care about that. Fine. That's okay. The cure is me getting with a man then. That's my cure. What's up? You don't have to deal with it. There's another gay guy out there for me. I'm bisexual, so there's a woman out there for me too. I'm competing with everybody. I'm on the whole world right now. It's the world and how it works. It feels gross to represent the entire community as just nothing but pieces of their body, small little sexual bits, small little nonsensical things within it. It makes it feel gross. It makes it feel like the world is hating us, and it is. The world doesn't accept us. There's no single religion. There's no religion really that accepts the LGBTQ community, because all old doctrine where everything was regular, men and women. Islam, Muslim community doesn't really respect it. Christianity doesn't. Lutheran, Catholic doesn't really respect it. Not at all in any capacity. It doesn't. There's no gay verse in the Bible. It doesn't happen. It's not real. There's no representation of that. But there is actually. Accept all. Love everyone. Do unto others as you would like to be done to you. Many things, many lessons that nobody takes into account. They want to preach about the rawness and wrongness of it. It's a sin to be gay. So is mixing cloth. So many things are a sin. Gluttony, pride, greed, wrath, sloth, envy. All these things are greed. All these things are pride. All these things are sin. All of them. They're the nature of humans. It is what it is. I will live the truest and most authentic version of my life despite the aspect of everybody else telling me and trying to beat me down in this aspect. So you ask yourself, I ask you the question over and over again. Is the LGBTQ community too sexual? Is it? Now, I've been on Grindr for quite some time, and I do agree it's a bit strange going on Grindr and immediately being greeted with a onslaught of hot dog against my face. It's a little bit nuts, a little bit psychotic. Do I hate it? Most of the time, yeah. But if I'm looking for a man at the time, oh my goodness, it's the greatest experience ever. I don't know how to drive too far. I can host. It's great. Gotta do some prep. I can't eat for 8 hours. Gotta do a lot of extra things in that aspect. And you may view it as unnatural, but that's the things we have to do, because guess what? Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the hard part about being a bottom. No one talks about things about douching or enemas. No one discusses it. No one wants to talk about it. If you're looking for help and how to figure it out, what resources can you go to? That's why we talk about the resources at Pride events. We talk about these things, the importance of HIV testing, the importance of condoms. That's why we talk about it. You may think to yourself, well, I'm a lesbian, I ain't got to deal with that. Another girl's pH can throw off your pH so bad you can have an infinite yeast infection. You probably don't even know what that is. You can have permanent bacterial vaginosis. I've seen this twice in my life. It's such a strange phenomenon. Permanent bacterial vaginosis. Very odd to have. Some girls may not correctly clean. Some girls may use soap on the inside, and that's messy. You can't use soap on the inside of your cooter. You can't do that. A lot of people don't know that. Some people just leave the tampon in. Some people are just gross. That's just people. That's regular. But a lot of people don't have the hygiene or cleanliness or the know-how of how to do that because they've used the straight logic of how to do things. They don't grasp it. Nobody wants to have discussions about this. So when you talk about bringing kids to these events, when you talk about them learning about biology and learning about what's on other people, children should have the knowledge of things. They're going to figure it out anyway eventually. When I was younger, I figured out about this stuff early. I was on Newgrounds, Lemon Party. I got traumatized by 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I saw everything. And I discovered that and didn't know what to do with that. I just thought it was weird and crazy. I didn't know what the anatomy did. I didn't know about other body parts. That's what happened. And if somebody sat me down and instructed me and told me about what was going on and explained the minutia and the little bits of what's happening, it would be much better for me. Why are you so scared to let children know about things? Because you want them to preserve their innocence or because you want them to be ignorant? People should be allowed to learn things. Now, obviously, little kids shouldn't be engaging in promiscuous activities. That's gross as hell. I think that's disgusting and yucky. I think that's messed up. But having knowledge about something is very different than actually doing the something. Kids, for the most part, think it's weird to see butts. They don't look at a butt and think, oh, that's nice. They think, a butt, boobies. They just think they're goofy. That's really what happens. Now with the knowledge of what those things do, now with the deeper knowledge of what these things do and how we can utilize them, turn them sexual and turn them messed up. Those kids are deeply innocent. They're not thinking about that. They're not using that mindset. They're not thinking that in any capacity. As kids get older, they hit puberty, they learn about things. That's what happens. At 13, maybe they're kissing another 13-year-old. 15, they may be going out to make out point. Who knows? I'm just saying make out point a lot. That's not even a real place. I've never been to make out point in my life. Like, I'll just go to the movie theaters. That's the reality of what happened there. At 16, that's the age of consent. That means they can consensually, at that age, legally have intercourse. Not with anybody younger than that. And they can't be with an adult. Most people don't know what the age of consent means, by the way. I discovered that recently. When you're 16, that means you can be with other 16-year-olds. It doesn't mean a 21-year-old can be with a 16-year-old. That's not what the age of consent means. An adult can't be with a minor. That's the law. At 16, you're still a minor. When you're legally considered an adult, you can be with other adults. That's the law. Age of consent just means legally you can engage in activities that are in the bedroom. That's what it means. That's the reality of it. But you don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't have the education. I feel like we need more resources within the world to speak and talk about these things, but nobody wants to have the uncomfortable conversations. No one wants to open a discussion and talk about these things. Is the LGBTQ community too sexual? No. They're too repressed. They're too scared of being who they are. They're too abnormal for people to accept them. They're too hated on. They're too disgusted on. They're too heated on. They're despised by everything and everyone. It makes it feel like they don't deserve to have a place at the dinner table. But guess what? I cleared off some space. I wiped it down. I set out some extra silverware for them. I put a plate down. They are welcome here. They have to be, because we got to keep talking. We got to keep having discussions, because that's the tool at which we decided to use to have discussions with. We created language to talk, but nobody wants to talk. We always want to argue. We never want to have real conversations anymore. That's all it is. No one wants to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the negative aspects. Let's talk about the positive. HIV. Let's talk about the real things. Talk about the fun of it. Let's talk about the realness of it. Let's talk about how great it is that people can express themselves, the freedom of it. Let's talk about how we have so many resources. Let's talk about how you choose to be ignorant. It's okay. I'm not saying you're not allowed to hate. Hate as much as you want to. Despise me, hate me, spit on me, do whatever you want. I will greet you with a smile in every capacity. I will not be submissive, though. I will not lay down. My passiveness is not a tactic of you allowing it to happen to me. It is me telling you that I choose to not be as evil and as ugly as you. That is my choice. That is my choice, and I will die on this hill. And if you kill me on this hill, just know that the tree that will sprout from me will create shade for people that have gone on this hill as well. And I will continue to grow and be the biggest tree on the planet. And I will look down at you as you are sitting in your small-minded world, in your small mind, as nature overtakes your small city and hurricanes and tornadoes of our movement come and destroy you and wash you out, living in your walls and castles, that I, as the big bad wolf, and you, the little piggy, will get annihilated. Your house of brick and stone cannot stop the wave of downpour of love that I come cavalcading down upon your entire soul. That is what I am, and that is what I will be, and I refuse to lay down dying, because I will stand and fight. It's disgusting that people often say, is the LGBTQ community too sexual? It's not. We just want to be loved. And nobody loves us. So we're loving each other, and it doesn't feel right anymore. Please don't hate us. We're just trying to live. Same as you. Life is already difficult enough. Bills are hard. Life is hard. The economy's in shambles. Eggs cost $18. Everything's hard. And you choose to make it harder because you want people to suffer as deeply as you do right now. And I don't get it. I really don't. Every argument, it feels like we're losing a piece of the plot. We're losing a piece of the main narrative. I don't want to keep losing the plot. I really don't.
I'm your Nick at night, be my lower low. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.